All right, good evening, everybody. It's the Fantasy Sports Boss. Welcome to Fantasy Football Live. We have the Chiefs and the Denver Broncos tonight in what's looking like it's going to be a pretty awful weather game in terms of the winds. That could have an impact on the passing game. Going to go through the injury report like we always do. A lot of big names already that we have to concern ourselves with for tomorrow. Mike Evans, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got to continue to keep an eye on Austin Ekeler, Davante Adams. And then plus the to the moon and to the bench. I'm going to go through all the games and tell you the guys I think are going to go to the moon and to the bench as we go out throughout the course of the stream tonight. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification button if you haven't done so already. Hey, Boozy, how are you? Hey, Joe. Also, Rice at the flex. I'm going to go with Rice. Laporta. Yep, Laporta is injured. Hi, Hans. How are you? So, yeah, Sam Laporta. One of the big ones that we have to concern ourselves with now because he's got a calf issue. So I'm going to check out the just before we get into the Thursday night game. I want to see the actual updated weather forecast. So right now it's 74 in Kansas City, Missouri. The winds, because that seems to be what the issue is, right? Yeah. So wind gusts are 31 miles per hour right now, the sustained 20-mile-an-hour wind. So the winds are going to be pretty rough tonight. And so that's going to hurt the passing game, the deep passing game of both teams. And, listen, Russell Wilson is actually having a decent season. As much as we like to make fun of the Denver Broncos, they're just not a likable team. He's having a good season. I think he's fourth in the NFL in quarterback rating. Obviously, Mahomes is Mahomes. Travis Kelce will play tonight. He's the bionic man. Looked like he was done for the season when he went down last week. And, he looks like he's good to go. Rashee Rice, last week I told you guys Rashee Rice to the moon. He scored a touchdown. I think Rashee Rice to the moon for the rest of the season. Like, I'm playing him tonight as my wide receiver 3 because I have Evans in the flex spot given his injury question mark. I think it's set up good for him. And listen, the Denver Broncos defense is just downright awful. So I think even though the wind is going to be a factor, I think you play Rashee Rice. Obviously, you play Travis Kelce. Isaiah Pacheco is set for a really big game. And now here's the thing. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting at the running back position for the Denver Broncos. So Javonte Williams is playing tonight. Samaje Perine obviously is going to be suited up as well. So is Jaleel McLaughlin. Jaleel McLaughlin's been a thing the last couple of weeks. He was awesome last week. I think it was 17 PPR points. He scored a touchdown. He's an explosive play waiting to happen. So now the question is, and for me in my work league, I have Aaron Jones on a bye. I have both Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. I've been going back and forth all day on which one to start. Right now, I have Javonte Williams in there because he's projected for more points, and I think he would get the goal line work. But in a game where the Denver Broncos, I think, are going to be trailing for the majority of the second half, they're going to have to pass the ball, even though it's going to be windy. I think Jaleel McLaughlin will have a lot of targets, a decent amount of targets. So, Boozy, I think Pacheco's going to have a huge night tonight. Absolutely. And DH, I would go Howell because he's hot and Geno is a little gimpy. And then, Cade Otton or Knox, that's a tough choice. I guess I get maybe Tyler Conklin if he's available, but I guess I would lean Knox if he even plays. But yeah, so, I'm not sure what I'm going to do tonight with the running back position for the Denver Broncos. Like I just, like I said, I have Javonte Williams in there, but I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. Although Sean Payton said he would have played last week if it was a playoff game. So, I think Javonte Williams will obviously start the game. I think Perine will be hurt a little bit more. But I'm up in the air on which one to go with, as far as playing. As far as Keontae Ingram and DeMercado, that's another interesting one. So Ingram has been listed ahead of him, but I'm going to go with DeMercado because in a PPR league, he's going to catch the ball. Ingram, he's the more explosive of the two, John, but I think DeMercado is going to be the one who's catching the passes, and they're going to be trailing in that game. So I think that, the opportunity will be there for him to catch passes. Swift or Tony Pollard. The Eagles are playing the Jets. That's a tough defense. I would go Tony Pollard. I'm definitely going to go Tony Pollard because I think that the matchup is much more difficult for I think Pollard has a better matchup. So I'm trying to say because Keenan Williams is going to be clogging things up. To make things more difficult for DeAndre Swift. All right, we have a $5 super chat. Justin Livingston. Hey, Justin, how are you? Good afternoon, boss. Good afternoon to you as well. Fighting a nasty cold. Oh, you see, yeah, it's your turn now. I had that last week, man. I felt like shit the entire week. I hope you're feeling better, though, the next couple of days. I alternated Advil and Tylenol, and it seemed to do the trick to break the fever. Can't decide between Palmer, DeMercado, or Judy. I'm going Palmer. I think it's a good. It's going to be a high-scoring game, I think. So I think Palmer's going to get a lot of targets. He got a lot of targets last week. Didn't have a lot of actual receptions. DeMercado, there's still a question mark as to what the other Ingram, how much work he's going to get. So that's the issue I have there with Keontae Ingram. I don't know how much work he's going to get. Is DeMercado going to be a third down back? And Judy, he was better last week, but the wind is going to be a problem tonight. So I would go Palmer, slightly into Palmer over Judy. And thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate that. So picked up Moss. Hope he does well this week. Listen, I mean, at this point, with all these injuries and guys on a bye, it's tough, man. It really is. Like, there's just so many injuries. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it. All right, Judy, trade rumors, Mims to the moon. Yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't say he's to the moon. He's got a lot of talent, but yes, there are Judy trade rumors for sure. Would you trade Puka for JT? I would not, John. No, I wouldn't do that because I don't think Moss is going to be going away. That's for sure. Marquise Brown, Samuel, or Rice for the flex. Marquise Brown has played really well. I would have to give the lane to Marquise Brown just because, again, I do like Rice, but I'm not sure with this win tonight. And Marquise Brown, listen, he's been 17 to 19 fantasy points every week, and he's scoring touchdowns. And whatever you paid for Marquise Brown at the draft, you've already made a profit. Would you start Jameson Williams, Javonte Williams, Rice, Charbonnet, Palmer, Hunt? I would go with Palmer. Drake London or Curtis Samuel. Got to go Samuel because, listen, he's got to dump it off quickly, and Samuel's been the main beneficiary the last couple of weeks. Cole Kmet and Samuel for Dameon Pierce. I don't like Dameon Pierce. John, I think you should hold on to Kmet, who's having a really good season at a tight end position. It's been bad this year. No, there hasn't been this many injuries. Guys they're bigger, they're stronger than ever before. God only knows what kind of supplements they're taking, whether it's legal or illegal. Guys are getting pinched for stuff, every year. So the turf the defenders are bigger. So it's just all of those things combined together. And also, listen, there was more off-season stuff. Now the NFL is really strict on how much you can work out in the off-season, even in training camp. I think those long training camps and those long off-seasons really condition players so that way those soft tissue injuries didn't happen. Hey, Mark, how are you? Would you flex Foreman or Godwin? Godwin. Curtis Samuel or Judy? I'm not a Judy guy. I got to say Samuel. He's fooled us too many times. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm going to go through the schedule now. To talk about, who's to the moon and who's to the bench. And as far as tonight, like I said, you play all the key, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, you play Isaiah Pacheco. And then as far as the Broncos, if I had to pick between those three, I would give a slight lean to Javonte Williams because I think he'll get the most snaps and he'll get the goal line work. I have Hockenson need a running back 2. Houston's a really easy schedule rest of season, maybe Kmet for Pierce. Yeah, that might work. If you have Hockenson, then I would say that would be okay. Thank you, Boozy. I appreciate that. Hey, Angelo. Watson is fine. I don't believe his shoulder's still hurt. He just don't want to play. I guess he just wants to get more massages. What is he getting a massage to get this injury taken care of? I mean, what's going on with that, right? Do they have to monitor? Somebody have to be in the room with him? So all right, we have a $1.99 super chat from Joe Castles. Thank you, Joe, for your generosity. London, Rice, and Downs, and Olave. Who you start? I'm starting Olave. Olave is the best player out of all those guys, and I think he's going to be just fine. Somebody traded Hockenson for Waller and Pickens. Fair trade. Yeah, I think it's fair. And listen, if Kirk Cousins gets traded, Hawkinson's value goes into the toilet. And Joe, again, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. All right, so the Bills and Giants, guys. I know it was rough last week, but James Cook is going to the moon and beyond. It's not even funny how good he's going to be this week. The Bills are going to jump out really big in this one. They're not going to have to throw the ball a lot in the second half. I actually think Josh Allen will be sitting for the fourth quarter. That's how bad the Giants are. So I think James Cook, who had a bad game last week, that's because it was the jet lag. We talked about all week. That's why I took the Jaguars. I think that this is a huge game set up for James Cook, who is to the moon for me this week. I also think Gabe Davis, guys, I can give you all the obvious ones like Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, but the point of this exercise is to give you guys who may not be obvious choices to the moon, to the bench. So I would say that Gabe Davis is a to the moon. Like Gabe Davis, he's very touchdown dependent. He got into the end zone late last week, but the Giants are starting two rookies often at times. I know that they put Adoree Jackson sometimes in the inside to defend the slot. I think that Gabe Davis is set up for a really, really big game here. As far as to the bench, you got to bench Darren Waller. Tyrod Taylor's probably starting this game. And Tyrod Taylor, we know he's a good athlete. He's won games, but he's just not going to help out Darren Waller in this game at all. So I think he's to the bench. And listen, God help Saquon Barkley. I don't know if he's going to play or not. He's got to be looking at this offensive line and saying, hell no. Just no, I'm not doing this. Get me the hell out of here. And that's one guy I really do think is going to see his name in trade rumors. All right, so Eagles against the Jets. I think Tyler Conklin is a guy who's a really, if you're playing DFS, I think Tyler Conklin has a really good value this week. All right, now the Eagles historically just don't defend the tight end well, right? So I think, this is a good. And Conklin's been all right. They've been really incorporating the tight end. So if you play DFS or if you're in a deeper league, I think Tyler Conklin is a good matchup against the Jets this week. Listen, A.J. Brown's going to be getting Sauce Gardner. So I think this is a good spot for Devontae Smith to get his season back on track because it hasn't been very good for him so far this season. I think DeAndre Swift, we got to be careful with DeAndre Swift this week. This is a tough matchup. The Jets defend the run. Keenan and his brother there really clogging things up. All right, we have another $4.99 super chat. This from Joe Castles again. Thank you, Joe. London, Rice, and Downs picked them in order to start. Rice, Downs, London. That's how I would have it. And listen, Downs is really going to be valuable this next month and maybe even beyond because he's got Gardner Minshew at quarterback now, and that's really going to unleash his game, unleash Michael Pittman's game. More of a pocket passer Gardner Minshew is. So I think that Downs, who I picked up in one of my leagues, is going to have a really good next month. What do you think of Derrick Henry is there? Yeah, it is a committee, not in so many words, but Tajay Spears is just too good to put down to keep on the bench. And I've said this a million times. The team is trying to do right by Derrick Henry. All right. And I really do think they're going to have a conversation with him at some point and just be like, listen, do you want to get traded? I know we're not going anywhere. We'll do right by you. You've been good for this team for so long. And that's the right thing to do. And I think that could happen. All right. So Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans. So this is a get-right spot for Lamar Jackson. I think Zay Flowers is to the moon this week. So Zay Flowers still not getting into the end zone, but he's getting the targets. He's getting 7 to 10 targets every game. In a PPR league, he's really going to feast against the Titans, who do not stop anybody in the passing game. So Zay Flowers, to me, is a to-the-moon guy. Whereas, you really got to be careful with Derrick Henry in this matchup because the Ravens have been defending the run really well. All right, Falcons and Commanders. Listen, Drake London, we all know what Drake London, he's been driving everybody crazy, but this is a good matchup for him. I actually think the Commanders are going to move the ball. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. And I think that it's going to incorporate Drake London. I've always said, you play Drake London and Kyle Pitts when they're playing an opposing team that could put up points. And the Commanders can put up points, right? Sam Howell is throwing a lot of passes. He's moving the ball. He's taking a lot of sacks, but he's generating offense. And so I think this is a matchup where you can play Drake London. I think he's going to have a fairly decent game. Same thing with Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin is a to-the-moon guy as well. Trade my Garrett Wilson for his Devontae Smith. Yes, I would do that. I would do that because I think long-term Devontae Smith has more value. Logan Thomas, yeah, I would do that. Laporta, calf injuries are tough, guys. I don't see him playing this week. And the Lions are dealing with a lot of injuries because I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is playing again either. Yeah, Chris, I would sit him as well. All right, $1.99 super chat from Hans C. Thank you, Hans. You're always so generous to the channel. Trade Ridley for Mixon. I think you could do better. I know, listen, Mixon is what he is. He's a high usage guy who's not flashy anymore. He just doesn't have the speed he used to have, but the targets are there, the snaps are there. Everything is there from a workload standpoint. So if you're really desperate at running back, then I would go with him. All right, we have breaking news. Deshaun Watson is out this Sunday against the 49ers. So PJ Walker. So that means to the bench goes Amari Cooper. And Hans, thank you for that super chat. Try to do better than Mixon, but it's not an awful trade. But anyway, breaking news, Deshaun Watson will miss his second straight game. PJ Walker will be in there. So that just came down now. Jerry Jeudy sits. I'm not playing Jerry Jeudy tonight. I don't like the matchup. My receivers are Tyreek, Keenan, Zay Flowers, and Myers. That's a great foursome, man. That's PPR especially. Justin Tucker, I mean, no, I don't think so. It's ebb and flow when it comes to kickers. And what can you get for Jefferson? It's going to be tough, man. I don't know what you can get for Jefferson. Maybe Jalen Waddle. See if somebody takes, I saw that today. Somebody in one of my leagues, and he's telling me that in another one of his leagues, he was offered Jalen Waddle for Jefferson. So I thought that was, fair. Deshaun Watson is just not very likable. There's just no other way to. I did see that. So Tony Pollard did pop up. So Rico Dowdle, it becomes a person of interest now. Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver one the rest of the season. I'm sorry. Like I've been apologizing for him all year, and I think he's going to be just fine. All right, Vikings and Bears. So this is last stand for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm rooting for the Vikings to win because I need them to win games. So when I get Justin Jefferson back, he has motivation to return. Like I want there to be a playoff spot at stake. So Jefferson says, listen, I'm going to come back and play, have a big finish. I really need that. My 5-0 team has decimated Jefferson, Mike Williams, James Conner, Tank Dell, all injured the last 3 weeks for that team. And I'm looking at some really tough weeks ahead. But I do think TJ Hawkinson is absolutely to the moon. And I think Jordan Addison, who practiced in full today, is 100% to the moon. This is a good matchup against a bad Bears team. Alexander Madison, certainly that's going to help for him. But I also think Cole Kmet, and obviously you're playing DJ Moore, but Cole Kmet is somebody who I think is going to go to the moon as well. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. What do you expect to receive for ETN? ETN for James Cook and Devontae Smith. I mean, that's fair. ETN's coming off a big game, so now's the time to trade him. But I do like ETN. I really wouldn't trade him if I were you. Traded Ridley, Marquise Brown, and Breece Hall for Diggs and Ken Walker. It's fair. You paid a lot. Kenneth Walker gets hurt a lot, so I don't know. I mean, it's fair, and you're getting Diggs, the best player to deal. So I don't have a problem with it. I don't think Laporte is sell high. No, I think it's just an injury. They're going to rely on him a lot. Bengals, Seahawks. So T. Higgins is limited again today. I don't think T. Higgins is going to play. So obviously you go in Jamar Chase. The Bengals haven't defended well all year. So obviously Tyler Lockett, to me, he looks like somebody that's going to go to the moon. I think Kenneth Walker is going to have a strong game. Tyler Lockett is doing his Tyler Lockett thing, right? He has these games where he's, catches 4 passes for 40 yards and then he goes 10 for 120 and 2 touchdowns. That's just how Tyler Lockett rolls. And I think now this week he's set up to go to the moon. 49ers, Browns, man, this is going to be rough for the Browns. PJ Walker against the 49ers. The 49ers defense is going to score 40 points this week. Honestly, you bench Jerome Ford, who's banged up as it is. You bench Amari Cooper to the bench. You bench everybody. You're not playing any Cleveland Brown. I'm sorry, you're just not. 49ers, I wouldn't even – Deebo Samuel is being left behind in this offense. They're going to blow out the Browns so quickly that it's going to be I don't think any of these guys are going to be playing in the fourth quarter. So that'll make things even more difficult for Deebo in terms of getting on the score sheet. I actually think he's a flex play only this week. What can I get for James Cook and wide receivers? Jalen Waddle. I think you could definitely – that's somebody you could probably get. Jalen Waddle. I would take a shot at Christian Kirk maybe. Those kind of guys would be in line for James Cook. Is this a good trade or bad trade? My DJ Moore for Justin Jefferson. It's a bad trade. Hold on to DJ Moore because we don't know if Justin Jefferson's even going to come back. All right. So, by the way, guys, so tonight, Chiefs, Broncos. So last week, 4-1 with the picks, 14, 10-1 on the season. I'm making one of the picks this week is going to be the under 47 tonight. So Chiefs, Broncos, I'm going under 47. So that's one of my 5 picks. All right. So if anybody that's following me, I'm 14, 10-1 on the season. I'm going the under tonight for that game. Dolphins, Panthers. Obviously, you're playing Adam Thielen, and this is a perfect game for Adam Thielen, who has been arguably one of the best buys in fantasy this season, especially in a PPR league. Like, he's still putting up major points every week. He's the unequivocal top target in this offense. And the Dolphins are going to jump out ahead, so there's going to be a ton of Adam Thielen targets during the second half of this game. Another huge game on tap for Adam Thielen. You put him to the moon for sure. And then obviously, hey, listen, Chuba Hubbard is taking over this backfield. Miles Sanders did not practice again today. So Miles Sanders is probably not going to play this week. Chuba Hubbard, who's averaging more yards per carry, catching the ball better. Like, all this money they paid Miles Sanders, and now all of a sudden it's looking real dicey for him rest of season. Keenan Allen or Ridley, Allen rest of season. I would say I'll give him a slight nod. Number 2 running back in Miami is going to be Jeff Wilson. If he comes back, it's going to be him over Salvon Ahmed. He was really good last year, Jeff Wilson, on a per snap basis with Miami. Gibbs and Curtis Samuel for Pierce. I mean, he's given up a lot. Pierce hasn't been good. That offensive line stinks, John. But if you're desperate, I think you're slightly overpaying. Cole Kmet, hamstring injury, serious. No, he did work today, so I don't think it's a big deal. We're going to go through the injury report in just a minute. Jaguars, Colts, I think this is an offensive bonanza for both teams. Josh Downs to the moon, okay? Same thing with Michael Pittman. You're playing both of these guys. And Jonathan Taylor, they said they're going to ramp him up this week, so he's probably going to get 10 to 15 carries. I think Zach Moss, it's going to eventually end up being maybe a 70-30 split, which is not fair to Zach Moss, but that's just the way it goes when you pay all that money to your starting running back. Jaguars, you're playing Kirk, you're playing Ridley, you're playing ETN. No issue there. Same thing with Evan Ingram. Saints, Texans, Chris Olave, I know it's been rough the last couple of weeks, let's face it. And I'm starting Kmet Akil over Jonnu. And Tua, grind, don't stop over Stroud. So, and as far as Jordan Love, way up and down. I don't think you could play him right now. So as far as Olave, I think he makes for a really good buy low. All those weeks I was telling you to buy low on Calvin Ridley, I hope you listened, because he was great against the Buffalo Bills. I think he's going to be good the rest of the way. Same thing for Chris Olave. I mean, he was awesome the first 3 weeks of the season. Derek Carr got banged up. It hurt the deep ball a little bit, which neutered Olave more than it did Michael Thomas. But I think Carr, he said he's feeling better. I think they're going to reconnect. And I think Olave is going to have a really big game here. Nico Collins, the Saints defense has been really tough. I think Dameon Pierce is in for a long day. I would have him to the bench. You're going to play Nico Collins, but he might be double teamed because there's going to be no Tank Dell. Raiders, Patriots, Devontae Adams is still banged up. I mean, I know he's not happy there. He wants to get traded. Is he going to get traded? I don't know. Devontae Adams is chapped right now because Jacoby Myers is getting all these targets. So Jacoby Myers, that short to intermediate passing game. And remember, over the summer, I was concerned about Devontae Adams. That's why I didn't draft him. I faded him everywhere because I didn't think he was a good matchup with Jimmy Garoppolo, who does not throw a good deep ball. Whereas Jacoby Myers is more in tune with what Garoppolo's strengths are as a quarterback, and we're seeing it with all these targets. You can't tell me that Devontae Adams is not ticked off about what's going on in terms of all these targets going to his teammate. That's just a fact. Obviously, I am encouraged though about Josh Jacobs. I think he's really fully back on track now. To the bench is Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson has been god awful. He's not even catching the ball right now. Ezekiel Elliott seems to be the coach's pet. It is just bad right now. Like, if you invested in Ramondre Stevenson, you are really hurt right now. It is not going good at all. He is to the bench for me. Rams, Cardinals. This is a get-well game for Kyren Williams. 2 of the last 3 games have been duds. Remember, I've been telling you all along, I'm not blown away by Kyren Williams. He was a sell high for me. The workload is going to be there, though. He's going to get all the snaps. So the points should be there because of that, not because he's explosive, because he is not an explosive player by any means. He is a compiler. He is not a guy like a Jahmyr Gibbs who can go out and put up 10 points on 6-7 touches. He's a compiler. And now that Cooper Kupp is back, that adds a little bit more of another element that could hurt Kyren Williams. But I think you do play him this week. And as far as the Cardinals, Marquise Brown, I think he's to the moon. He's been great, really good buy. He's been one of the better receiving. Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk, those are 2 really good values this season in fantasy in terms of the wide receiver position. Lions, Buccaneers. Listen, Sam Laporte, I don't think is going to play. So the Lions are continuing to be ravaged by injuries. I think Josh Reynolds is a to-the-moon guy if Laporte is out. Now, we know we're playing Amon-Ra St. Brown. He practiced fully today. Should be good to go. David Montgomery obviously playing. I think Chris Godwin, especially if Mike Evans sits. And Evans was limited today. The reports came out early this morning that he wasn't going to practice, but he was limited. But he's got to get into practice tomorrow. The fact that he's still limited after a week off is concerning to me. And this is Keenan Allen last year all over again with Mike Evans. Guys who hit the age of 30, I've said it a million times. I'm sorry I'm repetitive, but this is an issue we have to always remember every year. And finally, Cowboys-Chargers. Cowboys-Chargers, I think that all hands on deck there in terms of offensive players. All right, let's check out the injury report now because there is a lot of names. Obviously, Deshaun Watson, we just found out, is not playing this week. All right, so thoughts on Dak. I think Dak is a bench guy. I think he's a bench guy right now. All right, so Eckler. So Austin Eckler, a full participant today. So he's playing. He's back, right? So I actually acquired Austin Eckler in my work league the other day. I took a shot in the dark and it worked. So this one team in my work league is beyond devastated with injuries. Like everybody on this team is hurt. It's unbelievable. So I offered him, I lowballed him. I offered him Kenneth Walker, who's having a really good season, right? And I added Michael Thomas because his receivers are hurting badly and he needed a running back. And I asked for Eckler and he accepted it. So I got Austin Eckler for Kenneth Walker and Michael Thomas. So listen, that's a steal in my opinion for sure. Even I know that. And I was, a little nervous he wasn't going to play this week, but he practiced in full today, so he's good to go. Dak Prescott is just not very good anymore. He's Dak Prescott 5 years ago was a stud fantasy quarterback, but he is no longer that person. Puka, Sanders, Chuba, Jeff Wilson for Bijan fair. No, I don't think that's fair, John. You're giving a bunch of kind of garbage besides Puka, and it's not Puka without Cooper Kupp. I'll never start Washington D again. Yeah, don't fall for the Washington D. They're not good. All right, so Raiders had a walkthrough as opposed to a practice. So Devontae Adams limited with a shoulder, so we got to watch that. I mean, Devontae Adams usually always suits up though. Jonnu Smith full practice today. Who would have thought Jonnu Smith was going to have better numbers than Kyle Pitts at this point in the season? I mean, he's absolutely just ridiculous. All right. T. Higgins, ribs. He's still dealing with the broken ribs. He was limited today. I don't know if he's going to play. Chris Olave, full participant. So Chris Olave popped up yesterday with the toe. He's fine. He was a full participant. I think he's going to be just fine going forward. Last couple of games notwithstanding. Bears running back situation. Roschon Johnson. Listen, Roschon Johnson is going to be really good over time. He hasn't exactly flashed yet. And while Khalil Herbert played really well before he got hurt. So I think we're in a situation where even if Johnson plays well the next couple of weeks, he's going to have to blow it out of the water to keep Herbert off the field. Because I think Herbert was really good those last 2 weeks, and that's going to give Herbert the benefit of the doubt when he comes back. Now, could he get Wally pipped? Sure. But I think Herbert's still going to be a thing. As far as KJ Osborne, I'm playing him on my flex. So I think I see some good things for KJ Osborne going forward. He would have been a really good sleeper tout of mine if they did not draft Jordan Addison. Zay Jones, the knee, he is limited. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to play against the Colts. So when Zay Jones is out, Christian Kirk goes wild. So that's what we're going to see again. What do you think about Kamara? Will Williams come back? Williams is not a threat to Kamara. He is not a threat to Kamara. I think Kamara is going to get his 70% target share, 70% snap share, whether Williams is back or not. So Mike Evans got in a limited practice, so I guess that you take that as a positive. Jordan Addison was a full participant in practice today. Tony Pollard was limited with the shoulder, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one tomorrow. So that's one that popped up. Cole Kmet says he's good to go Sunday, so Cole Kmet is ready to go. Amon-Ra St. Brown, full participant. Sam Laporte is sidelined, so midweek addition to the injury report is usually not a good for a player. So Sam Laporte is probably on the wrong side of playing right now. All right, Curtis Samuel or T. Higgins? Well, T. Higgins. I mean, when he's healthy. kind of need advice. That's what I'm here for. Someone gave me a trade for Laporta. They want to give me Hockenson and Keenan Allen. Should Hockenson and Keenan Allen for Laporta? Absolutely. Like, do that now before he takes it down. Jeez, I wish I got those trade offers. Kyren Williams or Mostert, 10-team full PPR. Mostert. Mostert is set for some really big games. Jeff Wilson was limited. I don't know if Jeff Wilson is going to be, if they're going to put him out there right away. And Salvin Ahmed then would have some value. All right, so T. Higgins said it's looking promising for him to play. So I did not see this earlier. So T. Higgins, it looks like he's going to be able to come back, which is, obviously that's good for Joe Burrow there. Odell Beckham full participant today. Nobody's using him anyway. He's pretty much done. Miles Sanders did not practice with his shoulder. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, it's over for him this week. They have on Justice Hill or will he fade with that rookie creeping up? Listen, he is creeping up for sure. Mitchell is creeping up on him. Justice Hill, you take away that fumble, and that can't happen. He was solid last week. So, I picked him up in one of my leagues. He's on the bench. And we'll just have to see what happens there. Starting KJ as well. Traded away Marquise Brown, Riley, and Brees, so he's my flex now. Yeah, listen. I think KJ Osborne is going to be really, really solid. Yeah, definitely take that trade for sure. Was set to play last season, didn't play. Yeah. Yes, I remember that. I do remember that. That was bullshit. That was awful. I felt for everybody who had that. I think that's it in terms of the key names for the so nobody else that I have to discuss there. Okay. Kyren Williams or Derrick Henry? Kyren Williams. Listen, Derrick Henry is still good. He's still solid, but I don't, he has lost a half a step. And Tyjae Spears is the real deal, and he's a threat. Let's face it. What do you think about Michael Thomas? I think Michael Thomas has been solid. I really do. Wow. So Jaleel McLaughlin is winning the poll, huh? You guys really think he's going to outscore Javonte Williams? I knew pre-rhyme wasn't going to get much, but I might have to rethink that now and put in McLaughlin instead of Javonte Williams. I hate decisions like this. And getting back to Michael Thomas, he's been good, right? He stayed healthy. He has stayed healthy, knock on wood. But there's a ceiling on him. He hasn't scored. He's 5-6 catches every week, which is fine. 70 yards. He'll give you the 10 to 12 fantasy points in PPR, and that's fine for your wide receiver 3. But you still think, oh, it's Michael Thomas. He should be doing more. Well, at this stage of his career, at 31 years old or 30, however old he is, you just take what you can get at this point. But he's still effective. Would you drop Jaleel if he busts tonight? No. I think he's too fast, too speedy. I think he's a thing for this team. He's giving him a spark. I don't think he's going to bust. What NFL team do you like? Do you like FSB? What team do I root for? You mean I root for the Giants? Williams might stay on snap count. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But if there's 3 guys, they're all on snap counts theoretically. Appreciate it as always. I have Spears, so I can put him or stay with Kyren Williams. I wouldn't play Spears yet. I still would go with Kyren Williams because you're getting 90 plus snaps from Kyren Williams. So I think Kyren Williams is still the better play of the two. So anybody watching hockey tonight too? I know for me the Rangers, they play the Sabres tonight. Opening day, I am a big hockey fan as well, so I have that on one TV, and then I have the football game on the Amazon Prime, which is a pain in the ass. Like I hate the Amazon Prime thing. I think it's just so stupid. It's such a joke. It really is. I don't enjoy it. Traded Osborne and Rice for Lockett. Start London or Lockett this week. Oh, I'd start Lockett. I think it's a good spot for him as well. But anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to jump off now. It's just about 7 o'clock, so I'm going to put on the hockey game before the football game. So lots of sports tonight. Good luck on your matchups, whoever you play tonight. I know I got Isaiah Pacheco in one of my leagues going, and then it's and Rashee Rice in another league. So I'm invested tonight. We'll see how it goes. Good luck on everything tonight, guys. Tomorrow, Football Friday, regular Football Friday tomorrow. I do not have a game tomorrow night. And I'm probably going to go Javonte Williams, but we'll see. I might change my mind before the start and put Jaleel McLaughlin in there. But anyway, guys, have a good night tonight. Enjoy, and I will see you tomorrow.